So this is the Sony ULT Tower 9, and this is a part of Sony's new ULT series of speakers where they are really focusing on instrument separation, sound pressure, and battery life. And basically, this is a smaller and more portable version of the already super great ULT Tower 10. Nonetheless, today we're going to check out the ULT Tower 9 and we're going to see if it's right for you. Regarding pricing, the Sony ULT Tower 9 has a retail price of $900, which is a lot, but I do expect this speaker to go on sale on a regular basis. Nonetheless, if you want to pick this speaker up, it'll be linked down below, or you can always press on the YouTube shopping button. And if you want to further support the channel, then you can always pick up some merch. So first, there is the design of the speaker. Now, the ULT Tower 9 is noticeably smaller than the ULT Tower 10, but it is larger than Sony's other box speakers like the Sony XV800 or XP700. And for those curious, it is larger than the JBL PartyBox 520. Now, the ULT Tower 9 weighs in at 65 pounds, but it does have built-in wheels. So transporting the speaker is still easy because you can just roll it around. And I really like that the Tower 9 now has these really chunky wheels. So you're still going to be able to easily roll it in a parking lot, on the sidewalk, or on a thick carpet, unlike the tiny wheels found on the ULT Tower 10. But overall, I do feel that a single person should be able to handle the speaker, but I do feel that it's preferred that you have help if you're going to take the speaker up and down stairs, or if you're going to load it into your car, so that you don't damage the walls in your house, the car, or the speaker itself. And durability-wise, you do have to be careful with this speaker. It has a mostly plastic body which can get scratched very easily, and it has a thin metal grille on the front. But more importantly, this speaker does not have an official water resistance rating, so I would try to not let the speaker get wet. Also, the speaker does not have a top hat mount on the bottom, so you can't place the speaker on a speaker stand mount. But then there's the light feature on this speaker. Now, the light feature on the ULT Tower 9 gives it a very large presence because it has floor lights, and these floor lights have a very wide area of effect. However, this light feature is best used while at night or indoors, because outside you're not going to see these light features all that much. But from Sony's app, you can always go in and choose from a few different lighting modes, and if you want, you can also customize this light feature if you want. Overall, this light feature is decent, but if you do decide to use this light feature, that is going to take its toll on the battery life. Now, when it comes to battery life, the speaker has an advertised battery life of 25 hours, which is a lot. However, that's with the speaker playing at 36% volume, which is a decently listening volume for when you're having a get-together, but that's with the light feature turned off, but with the ULT feature turned on, which is good. But if you were to use the speaker with the light feature turned on, it's going to be good for around 12 hours, so playback time, still not bad. But world use for me, with this speaker playing at 60% volume, which is already a really good volume, and with the lights turned on, and with ULT 2, which is better for outdoor use, it's going to be good for around 8 hours of playback time. Now, battery life on this speaker really varies depending on how you use it, but if you were to use it at max volume, it's going to be good for around 2.5 hours playback time. And honestly, max volume on the speaker is going to result in a visit from the cops, which might be good or bad depending on your situation. And anything above 60% volume while indoors on this speaker is going to require hearing protection. Now, I feel that battery life on this speaker is very impressive, but if you want, you can always extend its battery life even more by using it with its stamina mode. But with stamina mode turned on, that is going to severely lower your bass, so it's not going to sound its best, but it is an option. And to charge this speaker, it charges via a double barrel AC port, and if you were to use this speaker while it's plugged in, you are going to get a performance boost out of it. It is going to get louder, and it is going to have more bass. But then there are the ports on the speaker. Now, there is a port panel up top where you can plug in 2 mics for karaoke, or you can plug in a guitar, but I think 2 mics for karaoke is more important. Now, you can also go ahead and add in an echo, and there are, I think, 3 or 4 levels to this echo, so that you can hide just how off a key you are. But also, there is this key control function, which is going to change the pitch of your music. So we're just going to go ahead and demonstrate that. So we got a little bit of music going, and we're going to actually go ahead and increase the pitch. So as you can see, it's sounding a little brighter. You can also adjust it even higher. So that's what this does. I think we got one more. So this is the highest setting. Basically, it's making the song sound brighter. Bring it back down to normal. So here it is back to normal. And now we're going to go ahead and lower the pitch. As you can see, we're actually going a little bit more into the bass. And then that's the highest setting there. And you can see it's really lowering the pitch, and it's actually slowing down the song a little bit. And then bring that back to normal. So that's what the key control button does. And personally, I'm not a really big fan of this feature, but I do feel that the echo is going to be more useful because when there's a little bit of echo on your mic, you can hide just how not good you are. Now, like I just said, you can plug in two wired mics into the speaker, or if you want, you can also plug in Sony's ULT wireless mic system, and then you can get two wireless mics going. Now, both of these mics and the receiver charge via 8 USB-C ports, and they both have a really good range, and they all have an advertised battery life of 20 hours. And the cool part is, the Tower 9 actually has built-in holders for these mics. Now on the back, you'll find a second port panel, and here you'll find a USB-A port so that you can charge your wireless mics. However, I really wish that this USB-A port was a USB-C port instead. However, you can plug in a USB stick into this USB-A port and play music off of it if you want. But also, you can use this speaker with a wired connection because it does have an audio jack just as you'd expect, but the Tower 9 also has an optical port, so if you want, you can connect the speaker up to your TV and use it as a soundbar, which I do feel helps make this speaker more versatile, especially if you're looking for something for your man cave. Maybe you want a big speaker for your music, but then maybe you have your friends over to watch the game or the fight, and you can just go ahead and connect this speaker up to your TV and you can get big sound. You know, unless you have a very premium soundbar or home theater system, the ULT Tower 9 is going to sound better than your mid-range soundbars. But when it comes to Bluetooth connectivity, the speaker can be connected to two devices at the same time, so you and a friend can both be DJ. Latency is not an issue for this speaker, so you can use it to watch videos with on your phone. And when it comes to audio codecs, it has support for SBC, AAC, and LDAC, which is Sony's own in-house high-res audio codec. But just keep in mind that if you do want to use LDAC, you do have to be an Android user because iPhones top out at AAC, but regardless, this speaker still sounds great even with AAC. And if you want to further support the channel, then check out our affiliate partner, Coinbase. I have been exclusively using Coinbase for the last 5+ years to invest in crypto, and I have had zero issues with them. And if you sign up by using the link down below, you can get up to $200 in crypto. Coinbase makes it very easy for you to buy crypto like Bitcoin, Ether, Solana, and so on, and you can now use Apple Pay. Again, thank you to our affiliate partner, and sign up by using the link down below to get up to $200 in crypto. But with all that out of the way, let's talk about sound. Regarding speaker setup, the ULT Tower 9 has a frontward firing woofer with exhaust ports that shoot out the front. It has dual frontward firing mid-range drivers, and it has a total of 4 tweeters, 2 that shoot out the front and 2 that shoot out the back. Now, from Sony's app, you can also go in and adjust its EQ to your liking, but more importantly, this speaker has 2 ULT settings, ULT 1 and ULT 2. Basically, with ULT 1, this setting is going to increase the bass on the speaker, and this is the setting that I like to use while I'm using the speaker indoors. But then there's ULT 2, and ULT 2 is better for when you're using the speaker while outdoors because it's going to increase your sound pressure, so your mids and highs are going to be stronger, so your vocals are going to be more pronounced. But now we're going to go ahead and jump into the sound test. We're going to be using this speaker at 75% volume, and we're going to be cycling between ULT off, ULT 1, ULT 2, and we're also going to be using the speaker while it's plugged in.
Could I know it would be goodbye, my love? When did the close of forever come, my love? All I recall was a stare that was vacant and cold. Where did the spark go, the warmth that once stole my soul?
So when it comes to sound quality in general, Sony has really been improving their audio products for the last few years, and the ULT Tower 9 is no exception. Now, since the Tower 9 has a front-mount firing exhaust port, its bass is more on the audible side. You can still feel it, but it doesn't kick as much as, let's say, JBL's party boxes. But more importantly, the Sony ULT Tower 9 gives you much better balance and instrument separation. Now, like you may have just heard, with ULT 1, the Tower 9 had more bass than with ULT being turned off, and with ULT 2, the Tower 9 still had that same great bass as with ULT 1, but vocals were more pronounced. That's why ULT 2 is going to be a better setting for when you're using the speaker while outdoors. And when it comes to max volume performance, the ULT Tower 9 gets super loud. So loud that you never ask yourself, what if you get a second speaker or something bigger? But it's not overkill either, where you regret your purchase. Now, I feel that the Tower 9 is going to have no problem with a 50% party, and we're starting to enter commercial territory use here. Think small DJ gigs, medium-sized restaurants, or small events. But like I mentioned earlier, if you were to use this speaker while it's plugged in, you are going to get a performance boost out of it. It is going to get louder, and it is going to have more bass. Overall, I think the ULT Tower 9 sounds great, and I can't wait for you to watch the comparison video where we compare it to the JBL PartyBox 520. But in general, the Sony ULT Tower 9 really does give you much better instrument separation thanks to those additional mid-range drivers and those total of 4 tweeters. But finally, let's talk about pairing the speaker up with other speakers. Now, if you have 2 of the exact same speakers, then you can wisely pair them together and get them to play in left and right stereo mode, so your music is going to sound more open and is going to get louder. But you have to have 2 of the exact same speakers. But also, this speaker is using Sony's wireless party chain, so you can pair it up to Sony's other speakers that are also using wireless party chain, like an ULT Tower 10, an ULT Tower 9, or to an XV800, XP700, or to an XP500, and you can get them to all play in sync. Or you can also pair it up to any of Sony's smaller speakers that are also using wireless party chain, like either an ULT Field 7, ULT Field 5, ULT Field 3, or to Sony's older speakers like an XG500, XG300, XE300, XE200, or to an XP43, XP33, or XP23. The only unfortunate thing here is you cannot connect your ULT Tower 9 up to an ULT Field 1 because the ULT Field 1 does not use a wireless party chain. But overall, Sony's speaker pairing protocol is easy enough to use, and it is fairly stable now. But with Sony's wireless party chain, you're going to be stuck inside of Sony's ecosystem, which isn't a huge problem because Sony does give you a lot of offerings, and Sony is doing a really good job of giving you lots of backwards compatibility. But with all that being said, the Sony ULT Tower 9 is a great sounding speaker that gives you a very balanced and open sound signature. Thanks to its dedicated mid-range drivers and a total of 4 tweeters, the speaker has a really good definition in the mids and highs, but it still has a lot of audible bass. And personally, I feel that for indoor use, ULT 1 is going to be best, and ULT 2 is going to be great if you're going to be having a party outdoors. The speaker also gets super loud, so you never wonder if you should get a second speaker, but it's also not overkill. And if you want, you can also use the speaker for commercial use. The built-in battery on the speaker makes it very versatile and portable, but if you were to use it while it's plugged in, you are going to get more out of it. It is going to get louder, and it is going to have more bass. And I also really like that the speaker also has that optical port, so if you want, you can use it with your TV if you don't already have a soundbar, or if you just happen to have a very small soundbar. If you made it this far, I guess you enjoyed the video, so hit the like button and get subscribed. If you want to pick any of the products up, they'll be linked down below. And if you want to further support the channel, check out the merch. I made some shirts and hoodies that look and feel great. And you know I can be very particular, so I'll only slap my name on something if I'm really proud of it.